This is a dope episode, kind of throwback conversation that kind of jumped off at, serial, guest on the show, Brandon Williams, B-Dub, as we call him, our local lawyer that's always on the show. We were at his house. This conversation happened when the first thing came off for the players in the NFL saying that they couldn't stand up. They had to stand up for the anthem and whatnot. So this is a very candid conversation that happened then, but we held off on it to jump it off now, coming up for the new season coming up soon. So this is apropos that this is jumping off now. We had some great panel of people there, just great folks having discussion about this from different perspectives, different lifestyles, different living, different thoughts. So enjoy this, and Scenario will be back as always.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Hey, yo, Bo knows this,
What?
and Bo knows that.
What?
But Bo don't know jack, cause Bo can't rap. Well, what do you know? The D-Dog is first up to back. No batteries included.
Wait up. So, I find that there is here is the difference between last year and this year. I'm a capitalist. I believe the United States is fundamentally a capitalist society, and I do not have a problem with individual NFL owners making a decision for their team that they own and what they do with their employees. I don't have a problem with that, and which is why I did not advocate a boycott last year. I don't have a problem with it. My problem is when the NFL as an organization cites an edict for all of their teams and businesses independently to follow. That's where I have an issue with it, because now you are no longer supporting the ventures of capitalism, but you're more having to some extent, a culture warfare against people who want to protest something that is prominent and affects their
the majority of your employees.
right. And so if someone says to me last year, hey, I'm going to boycott the NFL, I say, that's a team-by-team basis. If you want to boycott a team, that's fine, which we'll get to in a minute, because that's probably the best way to go about it.
Sure.
But if you want to boycott a team, that's fine. But you can't boycott team by team because Kaepernick's protesting. For instance, I'm a 49ers fan. Kaepernick did not re-up with the 49ers.
Right.
He didn't get fired. This motherfucker said, you know what, I'm about to test my waters in the market because I feel like this protest is not going to fuck with me that much. I'm that good. I played in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to still be hireable. And teams made that decision to not hire him. But like the 49ers didn't need him. Let's take like the Kansas City Chiefs.
You're going to collusion?
Yeah, the collusion part of it. The Kansas City Chiefs didn't need him. Like there's teams that did not need Kaepernick. So for me to say I'm going to boycott the whole NFL because I'm going to boycott every single team because Kaepernick's not hired, that's bullshit to me. But then in turn, when the NFL says, well, now motherfuckers can't protest, now I have an issue with it.
But hold on, but I don't believe that teams didn't need him. I mean, the issue was that we are in a quarterback drought. I mean, there are a lot of teams in the NFL that have struggling quarterbacks. And last year, there are at least 6 that could have done better with him than with the players they had in place. So I'm not sure, and I also don't think that Kaepernick thought. I think that he stood on the grounds that he had, and he said, "I'm not gonna forgive or not do what I have said I'm going to do, which is kneel or protest in whatever way I'm going to protest." And if there's a team which also showed up, who was he? Seattle. Seattle said they'd give him. Baltimore said they'd give him a seat. And he couldn't guarantee them that he wasn't going to kneel. And they said, okay, we'll pass on you.
Well,
and their backups were not great.
Yeah, I mean, here's the reason why I didn't boycott last year. Obviously, I have an affinity for Colin. There's no question about it. And I do think the NFL colluded to keep him out. Whether
For sure.
I think there's no question in my mind.
For sure.
Because he you can't tell me he couldn't at least be a backup in this fucking league. Like, fucking
Alex Smith.
Jay Cutler
Oh, my
fucking
goodness.
was quarterbacking.
Matt
for-
Castle.
I mean, come
But
on.
I think he knew what he was doing.
But here's the reason I didn't boycott.
For sure he knew
Like, you
what he
just,
was
I think a
doing.
lot of motherfuckers jumped on the bandwagon. You just can't tell me to boycott without a concrete plan. Like, give me a fucking plan. Like, are you gonna boycott NFL? Are you gonna boycott the sponsors? What the fuck? What are we really doing here?
Yeah.
Give me a plan. Just don't tell me I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I was involved in the NFL for too long. I know how much money they make. They're
Yeah.
not gonna miss that. The TV contracts was already done, so they're not really gonna miss your fucking whether you turn on the fucking TV or not. This feels much more different
Yeah.
because they're kowtowing to Trump. All these fucking white ass billionaires, I don't expect them to understand what the players are going through because most of these motherfuckers got teams as a hobby. They ain't making their money from these fucking teams.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The teams are fucking. That's a hobby.
It's-
now
yeah,
they like
for
the
sure.
money that comes along with it. Don't get me wrong. This feels
The
different
prestige.
because I feel like they bitched out. I feel like they bitched out to Trump, and they're ignoring a whole entire. Like they're saying, well, we lost viewership because white people were saying, I'm not gonna watch unless these niggas stand up for the anthem. But they forgot about the whole black population, how much money we spend on the NFL, and how much what we do for the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And the fucking NFL wasn't even tripping off the anthem until about 12 years ago when the Army and Navy
9/11.
came. Yeah, when the Army and Navy came and said, we're going to give y'all a contract to play the national anthem before the game and fly, stretch the flag out over on the fucking field. They kowtowing to Trump. They scared as fuck from this nigga, and that's basically it to me. And so it feels much, much different. And on the capitalist shit, I completely agree. Like, at the end of the day, you work for those teams. But those teams should have a choice as to how they're going to implement this fucking rule. And you can't be a capitalist and a constitutionalist, which most of them will swear they fucking constitutionalists, and support this fucking edict that just went down. Like you can't do that.
So
Well, didn't the Jets owner just say he was going to pay all the fines?
Yep.
Yes, he did.
And the 49ers said,
Yeah.
when they're in the
So let me ask you all this: are you going to boycott this year?
I mean, I'm not going to boycott, but
It's my livelihood. I can't. You got to have people that. But here's the thing about boycotting, though: the fact that we judge people based on how it is that they participate in this recreational activity is off base. You got to have people that are close to this in order to speak to the event as well. If everybody in the black community just decides to turn their back to this event, then you start to let the story get told about your experience for you, and that's an incredible misstep in strategy about doing it. Like, I don't think that everything can be fixed by simply saying we're not going to participate in it. And to go back to the point that we were making about what goes into the NFL and what matters, first of all, the dollars have been spent on the viewership already. That's done. That's money that's in their pocket already. Here's the thing. You can't tell me you're not going to support the league without having a clue about what holds the league up itself. You can't be out here at all the companies that spend money on them and then tell me that you're not supporting the NFL. You are.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. We've gotten really good at knee-jerk activism in the last 3 years. Like, we've gotten incredibly good at knee-jerk activism. And then as always, if there's a couple things, a negative thing I can always rely on contemporary black society to do is that we'll turn each other against each other if we're not standing on the same ground that we believe is the ground we're supposed to stand on. So here's the problem with that boycott. You say, all right, let's look at it this way. Let's look at it. Just say we all snap our fingers and black people just aren't participating in the NFL anymore at all. So everything that you read and every story that gets told about the NFL is going to be told from a perspective that's not yours. So you're not aware of what's going on. You're just being reactionary. And that's the absolute worst way in life to make a decision is to make a reactive decision as opposed to one that you're actually standing on informed grounds on. And that's what I'm worried about here. And it goes to what you're saying, Mike, about how people are just doing things because they're doing it. Right now, this is basically somebody throwing a bottle down in the crowd and everybody deciding to get angry at one time.
Right.
Now, if you're going to boycott it thoroughly, hey, I'm behind you. But I don't want to see you in FedEx. I don't want to see you eating no Papa John's.
Right.
I don't want to see you drinking no fucking Gatorade. I don't want to see you supporting any of the 20 plus sponsors that uphold the league. Because if you really want to cut its Achilles out from underneath it, stop spending money with the people that support them.
Well, I think that's why you have a contingent of the black athletes from the 70s, 60s, 70s, and early 80s who have said they haven't been super supportive of Kaepernick. Like, they are frustrated by the fact that, like, you are kneeling, but you're not calling out the capitalistic systemic society that is perpetuating the entire situation. That's the issue. Like, so what you're saying?
It's Cap's job to do that, though. He already
but I think
did that, though. That's the thing of this.
Cap is just the stem of the explosive, if you will.
Yeah,
yes.
He is societal, sociologically Teflon Don at this point, because anything you have said about him, like what he ain't did, he did it. He did everything. Like he donated money. He's giving you time. Everything you want to say that he has not done,
he has done.
He's done it. So we can't put that on Cap, though, to be the fucking person to come up with a plan. No, it's better to say that.
No, he's walked it like he's talked it.
Yeah.
But he might be, of all the people that have kneeled, he may be the one that has really walked it like he's talked it. I mean, he has camps running across the country for students to learn how to be activists, who are in camps 15 weeks of the year learning how to disrupt the system.
He got the suit,
but he's not promoting it.
Coming out of jail, that he gets the free suits. Like, I mean,
but what I'm saying is you have. I mean, it's not homogenous. You have black players from the 70s and the 80s who aren't on his bandwagon, who are saying you need to either figure out how to disrupt the system within the rules of the game or not be in the game.
But from a fundamental standpoint, let's just go to the heart of the argument. The heart of the argument is individual players have freedom of speech. Okay, so that's actually not true, right?
No, it's private, so you don't have freedom of speech in a private.
But that's a nuance that you understand as an educated black woman. But generally,
can you do that again?
You are an educated black woman. But generally,
just to everybody
people,
out there,
yes,
go ahead and do that again.
Nikki's an educated black woman. But generally, people just say, well, players have a freedom of speech. And I'm like, motherfucker, when you go to work, my nigga, you don't have freedom of speech. Like, you're not going
I mean,
to
we're
work.
all sitting around this table, unless besides these two, like, well, you all are independent, so maybe I'm the only one that doesn't have freedom of speech.
Yeah, you don't have a right to say what you want to say at work.
No, you don't.
So that was my problem with everyone getting mad last year. I'm like, motherfucker, you work at Target. Your ass is not like protesting anything at Target. Like you work at Target, and if you protest
Target will let you go.
You're right, you'll get fired. And so the issue is, okay, so one, you don't have a freedom of speech. Let's start there.
You don't have freedom of speech in this realm.
Right. So two, let's separate NFL owners as businessmen from like Donald Trump going on Fox, because Donald Trump going on Fox is Donald Trump being an idiot on Fox. NFL businessmen, while they may all be racist, I don't know what's in their heart, but I do know they like to make money and they like to build their franchise in the way they want to build it. And let's be clear, the NFL fan base does not support Kaepernick's kneeling. Like, let's be 100% clear on that.
Fair.
Like 100% clear. So if you are a businessman and you see that your fan base does not support what one of your employees is doing, then you need to rail against that employee. We can all understand that. Now, if you want to say there's a cultural nuance there that you should not be tone deaf to your employees, being that they're predominantly black, and or just the fact that there's a lot of the L society and you're in a position of power to fix it or to at least support fixing it, that's one argument. But to say that like businessmen don't have the right to make money, that's a ridiculous thing.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. So then the question is, if you're going to boycott the NFL, what do you do? Right. So, and I'm posing this because we have 6 people sitting at this table. So I'm posing this like this. All right. The NFL, if all the people of color, because it's not just black people, it's Latinos, Latinos too.
Samoans.
And well, I don't know what else Samoa and whatever is going on with them, but if people of color, if they all boycott the NFL, does that affect the bottom line to NFL owners? And my answer to that, and you all can rebut it because I'm curious, but my answer to that would be no, because if all people of color boycott the NFL, then white nationalists and people that support like that America First shit will go above and beyond to support it just to make up for the gap.
Yeah, true.
So that's not the issue. The issue is this. One,
but I'll push back.
no, please. I'm asking.
No. The reason I say
I'm here
this
for
is
that.
the quality product be fucked up if the niggas that are fucking playing that ball decide to say fuck that shit too.
Two different discussions.
No, because
that's two different. You're right. We're gonna
because the quality product is a fucking whole bunch of white dudes out there punting.
It depends. I think B, it depends on what market you're in. I mean, because DC, Atlanta, fucking.
But are those franchises?
Chicago, I mean, Detroit.
Their main franchises
are
black-owned cities.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, Atlanta, Detroit, DC, Chicago are all places that they're still predominantly white, and they are still predominantly white in a way that if you want to support that franchise. And if you are that much of a fuckboy to make up for the fact that black people are boycotting you, they still will show up and support in droves. There's motherfuckers that don't care about football that will show up if they know that black people aren't supporting
you. But it's all them niggas that's sitting out there in the fucking playing that goddamn ball to figure that shit out.
I agree, but listen,
we're already talking about we're talking about. I mean, sports inherently are part of a capitalistic sort of.
Yes.
System, right? So what you're saying is either you have an entire like group of white folks who are like coming to the stadiums because we have shunned the folks, we've quieted the black people, right? Like you can't kneel anymore, you can't protest anymore about the injustice that's happening. So what do you do now with the fact that the NFL has said they're going to put together they put $100 million into a trust to figure out how they can in the cities that they have football teams build equity and create a system where we aren't having the reason to kneel anymore. What do you do with that? It's $100 million it's not shit.
Agreed. So here's my
it's shit for a $1 billion industry that up until a year ago wasn't paying taxes, but it's $100 million. So
here's my thing. Whenever you boycott something widespread, first of all, you have to be organized, and black people generally are not organized.
Okay, that's what. First of all.
Secondly, the whole.
So they're not organized.
Not they. It's we because you're black. So it's us.
You said they're not. No, you said they're not organized.
Right, I'm sorry.
So do not come at me because I'm Negro as fuck.
You're right.
So you said they're not organized.
Yeah, they're not. We.
Get on a t-shirt.
We. You know what? That would be.
I've been asking for a t-shirt all night.
Everybody,
this girl has been asking for a t-shirt all night. Nobody's giving me a fucking t-shirt. Had a Daredevil t-shirt. Asked for it. Didn't get it.
That would be a good t-shirt.
Here's for my actual shirt.
Yeah, you're like take that shit off right now, dude. Let's try.
I actually fucked the probably.
But like, here's the thing. So so black people are not organized. So when you say you're going to boycott the NFL widespread, I feel like that's an issue. Any boycott that has been successful in the United States of America, the two that come to mind first, obviously civil rights, the Montgomery bus boycott, and second is the UAW, the United Auto Workers Union boycott in 1970.
For sure.
And the thing that they had that was so different than what black people ask for now to boycott the NFL is very pointed, specific boycott.
It's also micro, more macro.
It's micro. So the United.
Which one?
It's micro.
More micro than macro.
Yeah. So the United Auto Workers, they said, you know what? We're a union. We can't fuck the whole auto industry, but we're gonna fuck General Motors.
Yeah.
And so 1970, they fucked General Motors so much that General Motors had to go to Chrysler and Ford, like, hey, motherfucker, this shit is not cool. It's coming to you next. Let's fix it. And for the Montgomery bus boycott, do you think whoever the CEO was of Montgomery, the bus boys, like they gave a fuck about black people? No, but what happened was we were so pointed and specific about how we attacked the Montgomery bus line that it worked because it hurt them economically. So for me, to your point, Mike, for me, it is, can you organize enough to boycott in a but in a large black City, Atlanta Falcons, or can you find a way to boycott America's team? I'm sorry to offend you,
Dallas.
but black people who aren't from Dallas are big fans of the Cowboys. And so is there a way to hurt that marketplace and then them go to their fraternity of owners and say, this is what happens when we fuck around with this issue? And I'm not saying it was to be successful, but I'm saying that it would definitely work more than a widespread boycott of the NFL, because that shit's not real.
But the problem I have is that we're having a conversation about the fact that we have 32 teams owned by white men who are 31 teams.
Jacksonville's owned by Pakistani, I think.
Sorry,
Khan, I think, and he might not be Pakistani, but I think he is.
In a corporation that has predominantly black people
as employees.
So I don't know how we can have that conversation.
Well, the employees have to raise up.
Yeah, but they tried that last.
Well, but then
they did. They really haven't tried that.
They haven't, and you're asking people.
They need to
So let's change the
language.
Let's change the context of the language you're using, because while you believe they haven't, that wasn't what was rising up. I do believe that for the individuals who were in that space, who risked what they were doing, they believe they were rising up. They were making a statement. They were doing.
They haven't risen up enough for they give them no money.
No, rise up is don't play.
Yeah, but I'm saying they haven't even strike correctly.
No,
for their
I
own
think
money,
actually.
Slow down before we even do it socially.
Hold on. That's pivotal.
But if you don't
so say that. No, I'm just saying I think we missed it. So I'm just saying I think that's pivotal. You can kneel. You are able to be in the lineup.
But rise
up is don't play.
But if you don't play, then it's on the onus is on us as citizens. Here's the deal.
Yeah, but you're gonna ask citizens the whole part of what is capitalism in the United States is that you keep people comfortable enough.
But boycott though, they hold up those people that is.
But I agree with you. None of those people they went out and lined up.
In every example I gave,
In
every example I gave, it's the people that are affected. It's the United Auto Workers. It was the auto workers who stopped participating in the industry.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is this: NFL is a very specific brand that has employees that don't have guaranteed contracts, right?
Right.
So you have people that are making $20 million a year. You have people making $200,000 a year.
You need a different union rep.
So no, it's not
like
that.
The NBA. Look at the NBA. Look at their union rep, and look what the NBA players have. And the control they have.
Dope. NBA union is dope.
What's that?
It was good.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying.
But wait,
I am agreeing with you.
Dean Morris Smith is a horrible fucking NFLPA fucking.
No, so we are agreeing on every point from here. I'm saying if you look at what the NBA was able to negotiate and where the NFL is, to predominantly white-owned.
Let me break that down. The Morris is not horrible. He's not the best, but he's not horrible. Here's the thing: the owners know. And the owners know from experience that NFL players, for the most part, number one, they don't have guaranteed contracts. Number two, them niggas do not save their money. So when they threaten to go out on strike, they'll go out on strike for 3-4 weeks, and they'll come back to the table, and they'll be ready to work because these niggas got house notes and car notes and baby mamas.
But that's
and
my
wives
thing. Me and him had argument.
Me and man had
hold on. Wait, for the sake of the integrity of the recording, let people take their vote.
I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna finish. They know that they can starve them out. You talking about billionaires? We gonna starve them out. They have to come back to the table, and they have to, for the most part, agree to what we tell them that they're gonna agree to. That's why they gave Roger Goodell all that fucking power to just fire motherfuckers, suspend motherfuckers just on a fucking humbug. That's why it's the weakest fucking union, because they don't have guaranteed contracts and they don't save their money. You know, they should be gearing up right now. DeMar should be on the phone right now like, look, when a collective bargaining agreement comes up for negotiation, you niggas need to start saving your money now and be ready to fucking strike for a year. If it ain't gonna last a year, it ain't gonna be no fucking.
My thing was me and him had an argument though. And we talked about this.
You and Matt.
Give me a Matt.
Because it's not visual, so I can't see who you're arguing with.
Me and Matt, I said, hey, Why don't the NFLPA say like, hey, 3 to 4, 5% of your dough going to this pot though to make sure everybody good though. If we do have to strike,
Yeah.
Agreed.
like why don't we just have this a part of your salary that just goes to this pot that you don't even see the automatic come out of your bank account you don't even see that goes into to make sure that we're good unless we have to strike. Not even just for this, for anything, for labor, anything.
Agreed.
And Matt was saying like, yo, I don't want nobody fucking with my money and touching my money.
And there's a lot of niggas that's gonna tell you that.
But that's some. But that's. But
I'm
like
with
trying to
you.
fight.
I'm with you.
But here's
I'm
the
with
thing.
you.
Here's the thing here's the point that I made about with the NFL. With there's 3 things. One of them is 2 of them for the players and one of them for people like us. I'm gonna go to people like us first and foremost. Is that number one? It's real easy for us to sit here and tell these millionaires what to do with their money because we look at that as being a substantial pot of money that you shouldn't be able to fuck off. But just like us, just like any of us, their expenses equate to what it is that they bring in. So the thing I never do is tell them what to do with their money because their problems are like mine. It's just on a much higher scale of what they've taken on. Number 2, the other thing about it is that we talk about what the black population in the NFL should do, but there's a wide scale population that's not going to agree with them because we're talking about the NFLPA like there's some harmony on this topic. There's plenty of people in the NFL that don't agree with this.
But NFLPA should be doing that in general for their wages, everything, period, though.
Listen, but here's the thing. If you come and pitch that in an NFLPA meeting in these times right now, that's an idealistic way to look at it. Because there's going to be...
They should have been did that.
There's going to be people, but shoulda, coulda, woulda ain't what's happening in real life. So right now, you go and bring that topic into an NFLPA meeting right now, and you're going to have just as many people that are like, listen, this isn't my problem. This isn't something that I'm dealing with. I'm not about to put my money up for a contingency to rock the boat when we don't have to rock the boat because I don't believe in it. So you have people that are thinking like that. It's not like there's a harmony of the player base against the owners. That's not the case. That's not what's happening at all here. So the thing about it is, I think that the NFL, based on the terms and conditions of how the contracts are structured and based on the sheer volume of people that are in this league, you cannot compare it to the NBA. The size of that union is massively larger than any other union in pro sports. It's bigger than baseball, it's bigger than basketball, it's bigger than hockey. You're dealing with a much larger sum of money that people feel like they haven't invested some in. And to Mike's point, these people are not putting their money away because that money isn't there for them to put away. You go to baseball and try this shit, they're going to say, I have 7 years guaranteed. You're paying me either way. So we need to come to the middle on this, one way or another. These guys have 7-year contracts and only 2 years matter in. Now, that's just the industry that they live in. So you can't go to the forefront and tell them to operate underneath this idealistic standard because that's not the life that they're living. Imagine if we went to work ourselves right now, every day, and take the pie that we look at and say that only 2 months of the years of the money that we get to make is guaranteed. No matter what you put away, that 10 month is going to eat away at the savings that you got, even if you have it. So imagine if you don't have it. It's like working on commission full time your entire life. And they're not putting it away. So, yeah, you can teach all the financial literacy you want to, but that's not going to stop their mamas and their baby mamas and all of them from taking that money from them and them being right back in a situation where they have to come back to the middle. So we can't be so fucking idealistic in this thing about saying what should happen and what the outcome is, because that's not the reality of what we're facing.
So my question is not a rebuttal to that because that was 100% accurate. My question is this a thing that plagues people of color so much? Ooh, that's going to be loud. You know, go ahead and open it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's open it. Is that something that plagues people of color so much that there is a way to have, I don't know the equivalent, I'm going to throw this out there, just know that I'm not using this, but like a GoFundMe from society contributing.
No one values black people that way.
No, but I'm asking from black people. Would black people contribute to something so much that it would give people a minimum like $200,000
No.
across the United States? You don't think it's possible? Because if we're not organized like that, then we're not organized. And if we're not organized, then
you already said that earlier.
But we never
earlier.
But Brandon, we've never been organized like that ever.
Well, no,
the
civil rights boycott was organized.
Yeah, but I just said
But
that you
that
have
was
football
micro,
players
though.
from the 70s
And that was just a
80s
bust. The one I'm spending
who
no money on.
don't agree with
Guys,
Colin.
That's a professional recording. We can't talk over each other.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So my question is this. If the players said, okay, we're going to sit out for a year, and that's a lot on it. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen. But if the players said we're going to sit out for a year, could the top players that agree to sit out and society not augment the income of the individuals who are like the kick returners and the bullshit like gunners on kickoffs, cannot augment their salary enough to justify the NFL sitting out? Because here's the deal: if the employees sit out, the NFL doesn't have a product. I mean, I'm paying to see good players. I'm not paying to see motherfuckers that was like third string on Hawaii's like college team. I don't give a fuck.
And to the point of what you're saying right there is that I was listening to a discussion about how the NBA's offseason revenue flows based on LeBron James. There's no player in sports right now that has more of his thumb on the business pulse of a league than LeBron James. And here's where his power really stretches in, is that the players listen to him. So when he says something, the league listens and the player listen, because they understand that the revenue stream runs through a lot of what his perspective is on it. Here's the issue. Tom Brady's not going to be the one that stands up and does this. Aaron Rodgers is not going to stand up and do this. You're not going to have any of the people that really matter in the NFL stand up and shake up the money there.
I disagree with that.
And the reason why is because the way that the NFL tailors the exposure to the NFL, and Daryl, we talked about this yesterday when the person sent us the email about why isn't there more individual exposure for athletes in the NFL, because the NFL puts the shield above everything else. So there's nobody who is the black player in the NFL that can make the axis. And I'm going to point this at you, Mike. Who is the black player in the NFL who has the bargaining power to change the axis of how that world rotates?
They are replaceable, and that's
everybody can go in the NFL.
That's the thing about the NFL is every year they got a new crop that comes in,
new dope receiver.
And that's the nature of the NFL, and it's just a different. Like to your point, man, it's a different, like NBA stars, they last for 12, 13 years. NFL, you got a 5-year shelf life.
But that's a newer thing, though, too.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. No. I'm saying, but also for stars. I ain't talking about for the random dude that came into the league, though.
For stars. Okay. For stars, it's the same exact.
Randall Cunningham was in the league 12, 13 years. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Randall Cunningham could no. And Randall Cunningham.
Exactly.
And Randall Cunningham leaving the league. Randall Cunningham leaving the league couldn't have changed anything less about the league.
But no. That's my point. Now, my point is that the fact is that there's a amount of turnaround people that are there constantly. That are there.
But them being there in attendance, that's an attendance.
But he wasn't in attendance, though. He was starting them somehow.
But him starting and him not starting wouldn't have changed shit about the NFL in the era he played in.
It would have changed Philly. But it would have changed. But I'm talking about en masse, all the star people of color and people that sympathize or empathize with that role say, you know what, like for instance, Chris Long, or people that say, you know what, I don't agree with what's happening in society, but I also don't want to not have a paycheck. Yeah. So is there a way to merge those two ideals? And I don't know the answer. I don't know if that can happen. But I don't think it's all Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. The NFL does have, you have Mendenhall. I mean, you have, not Mendenhall. What's your boy from Pittsburgh? I went back. What's your boy from Pittsburgh? The running back.
Rashad Mendenhall?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Rashad Mendenhall. You have black stars in the NFL. The issue is that you don't have them all joining up and saying, you know what else society also ails me.
Well, and here's the thing about why
a small group and I beg.
And here's about what's happened right now is that thing like we were talking about. Why I didn't jump up and write an article about this tomorrow is because the book's not done being written yet. Like, here's the thing that you get to see from this decision right now is the thing that's happened is that okay, now you have legitimately polarized people against the middle. Now you're basically saying if you aren't on the field, like they've drawn a line in the sand. This is a tactical disaster that they made making this decision, because now you're going to have people literally say, before people had a neutral ground, you can stand on the field whether you take a knee or whether you don't, whatever. Now you're going to have people literally. You have the potential, I should say, of an en masse crowd of black people walking onto the field together. If you want to do that. That's the next play. If you talk about demonstrative things that are going to showcase there being an issue, tell all the black guys stay in the locker room together, and then see them walk out together. See, the debate about this, the argument about this right now is premature. It's premature. This is something that this season is going to tell the story of, because if you pay attention to this, it's really easy. This is one of the things about why you can boycott the NFL if you want to, but why I'm not. because I need to watch how this unfolds. This thing took 4 different turns in one season last year.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just one thing and it wasn't the other. But you know what? If you want to make a difference, and this is something my father said to me, if you want to make a difference, you got to show up to make it.
Yeah.
Now whether you stay out of, you can stay out of the action and be out of sight, out of mind. Good for you. But if you really want to make a difference, you got to show up to make it. And them players need to show up and make it. If them black people want to show up, if you want to show up and really fucking piss them off, go to a game right now. Go to a baseball game right now and sit the fuck down when the anthem comes on and see how the people in the stands react to your ass. And when they take that camera throughout there and there ain't no black people on the field and you got black people in the stands that's sitting the fuck down, that's a whole different thing. Because your dollar, whether you pay the NFL to go to the game or not, they're good.
They're good.
Go and make a fucking difference on the front lines. But sitting out and saying, I'm turning my back because everybody on Facebook's turning their back and you wasn't spending $1 on the NFL in the first place, fuck you. You being a follower. And that's the problem. We got so much social media and follower and passive activism now. You just doing whatever somebody else told you to do so that you feel like you're making a difference as opposed to actually making it. Until that point, none of that fucking opinion matters.
And to be honest with you, the NFL fucked themselves because that was a knee-jerk reaction.
It was.
Oh, for sure.
Because the majority of players, the majority white, black, or whatever, they had let that shit go. For the most part, they had let that shit go.
It phased out, kind of.
And it phased out, and now they brought it back to the forefront.
Like, you
like
gonna test
big
it.
time.
Like,
Like,
you
really
knew what was
fucking
going to
with me.
happen. They've been
Like, you really
figuring
fucking,
out
and that's
all
why
year how
I
to
say it's a
squelch
knee-jerk
it.
reaction based upon who's in office.
And look
But
at
it's
the
not
day they
knee jerk.
did.
Knee jerk is something that's quick. They have had an entire season.
Well, it's reactionary.
But look at the day they did it. They did it.
For sure.
They did it when your boy Sterling Brown's videotape comes out. It was the same day, right? From the Bucks. It was the same day. And for me, there's a vilification of NFL owners that my thing is, man, listen, you know, I always make a joke about being an elitist, but the thing is, if you're an NFL owner, you've either been rich your whole life or you've been white your whole life. And you've come into money at a time where you're not getting pulled over, you're not getting abused and oppressed by the police, right? So I take it an analogy.
And they're mostly 60 plus.
Right. So the analogy is this. So I don't want to get into Israel, but what's going on with Israel and Palestine? I don't want to. This isn't the podcast for that. But like, what's your boy? Benjamin Netanyahu. Yeah, he in Israel's oppressive behavior towards Palestine is laughable, right? But like, black people run over to Israel and try to support them. Like, black people have this kick in the last 5 years of like running over to Israel and showing love for Israel and going back to the motherland of Christianity, whatever. You're in basically occupied territory. And you're fucking up. But you know why it doesn't affect, you know why I'm not rah-rah Palestine? Because it doesn't fucking affect me. Like, it's not my day-to-day. So you're asking NFL owners that are never, ever faced with,
Running back for people that listen to, so you flip from Palestine to Israel.
No, like I'm never ever in support of Israel. Israel is an oppressive ass fucking nation who's fucking occupying land that they do not deserve to have and are fucking over the people that deserve to have it and are trying to minimize those people to put them in fucking territories and areas that were not the territories and areas and separate.
But then explain how Israel got to where Israel was.
That's a whole other story.
No, but I'm just saying.
I don't want to go into an Israel kick. My point is, my issue with what's going on over there in Gaza Strip and whatnot is that it doesn't affect how I raise my daughter, how I interact with my friends, how I have a drink today. I don't see it on a day-to-day, so it doesn't affect my day-to-day, so it's not important to me. It's important to me to have this conversation with 6 motherfuckers at a table, but it's not important to me. 5, I'm 6.
You can talk to yourself.
Yeah, it's true. But as opposed to, but juxtapose that with an NFL owner. An NFL owner, if you've never been pulled over, if you've never been terrorized by police officers, that shit's not relevant to you.
It's
that shit
never
is not your day.
to anybody
but
else.
But you have to respect that. You have to respect the fact.
I have to respect
that
what?
You know what? My sister has cancer, right? So I'm a big cancer advocate because my sister has cancer. If she didn't have cancer, I wouldn't be a cancer advocate. I would not be that person. If it doesn't affect you, you generally don't fuck with it. So for NFL owners, for you to say, I'm going to fuck with A, the backbone of America, which is capitalism, and B, my personal experience, and I'm going to ignore as a citizen.
No, I got you.
Yeah, and that's my thing. You're ignoring the fact these motherfuckers have never dealt with this shit. I'm not saying they're oblivious
So
to
you're
it.
asking privileged people who have never walked the
Exactly.
first step,
Exactly.
let alone the last step.
So here's the thing that they did. They made this policy in reaction to the pressure that was coming down from them from above.
I mean, they
Washington,
also just
DC.
made a fine. They did not make it a massive offense. Like, they didn't say if you didn't come out, you couldn't play. What they said was you got to pay some money.
Yeah, but that's some bullshit. They even made it fine.
No,
No,
okay.
I mean,
So there's
that's
two.
fair, but-
There's two levels of that though. They made this policy so they could appease the pressure that was coming down from them from DC. And it's nothing new for a sports league to do what they have to do to be in the good graces of Washington D.C. So you do all of this to basically take it back to Trump and say, look, listen, we did something. We did it. What does Trump say in response to that, though? I'm going to quote him here. So to make sure that these absolutely are not my words. In quoting Donald Trump, I think that's good. I don't think people should be staying in locker rooms, but still, I think it's good. You have to stand proudly for the national anthem, or you shouldn't be playing. You shouldn't be there. Maybe you shouldn't be in the country.
Yep.
You have to stand proudly for the national anthem, and the NFL owners did the right thing if that's what they've done. So basically, what you've done is he's went back and said, all right, as long as that's what they actually are doing, that's fine. But your rule don't really mean shit because you still didn't force them to do your bidding. Because that's what he's all about. He's about forcing people to do their bidding. So, but here's the thing. You've had all of these things happen. You fought against the middle here, but where are you at now? Now all you've done is polarize your base to continue to do that. And there's never been a point in American history where forcing somebody to give up their constitutional rights to abide by a law that you put in front of them has ever worked out well. This whole thing is based in rebellion. The entire thing is based in being able to fight for your rights to be seen and observed. So how do you think that doing something like this is going to make a better outcome?
Yeah, it was a bad play.
It's idiotic.
It was a bad play by the NFL, and it's one of those things where you are, at some point, you have to have some humanitarian thing in you that says, you know what, this is bigger than my bottom line. And I understand that. I wanted each individual owner to be able to make that decision, and I feel like when the NFL introduces something that says that the owners have to abide by it, that's when I have a problem with the NFL. Last year I had a problem with the NFL. I had a problem with teams. Again, because there are particular teams that didn't need Kaepernick. So why the fuck am I boycotting them? Why am I boycotting the Patriots? They don't need fucking Kaepernick. Why the fuck am I boycotting? I mean, I would like to boycott them because Robert Kraft and fucking Tom Brady are Donald Trump supporters, and I fucking hate Donald Trump. Yeah, but he loves me Mill, which was a whole nother fucking topic. I don't even understand that shit. But generally, I don't want to boycott teams when their owners have when they have an individual right to make a decision for their employees. But when you are, as the NFL, when you're telling the NFL teams how to operate, now I have an issue with it because now the NFL as a league is saying something, and that's a problem.
Well, and the second layer of that is that's inconsistency in policing too. Number one, it comes out today that it actually never went to a formal vote. It went to an opinion poll where they said we talked to most of the owners, and this is how we thought they would feel.
I told you about how Oakland was.
But at the same time, though,
never vote.
But at the same time, though, you in no other instance has the seat of the commissioner been able to force a decision on his employers, who are the owners.
Right.
So this is out of sorts. This is out of whack. So what you're doing, there's no precedence for this course of action. So what it tells me is that it's a representative way of just showcasing what systematic oppression is. Anybody that doesn't believe in systematic oppression needs to look at this shit and realize that you're just being biased against your opinion because it fits your agenda.
But see, my thing is, I've realized that people ain't gonna if they don't want to believe in systematic oppression, they're never gonna believe in it.
Right.
At this point, they're never gonna believe it.
They're the same people that say that global warming isn't happening, the world's flat, and that everybody should stand for the flag. Because, first of all, why the fuck we playing the national anthem at any sporting event in the first place?
They didn't start playing until 2000, I believe 2003 or 2004, before the games. They never played it before the games.
And the whole NBA argument's a red herring because it's like, well, The NBA has the same rule that you have to stand up for. You have to stand up and be unified, whatever, for the national anthem, which is true, except for the NBA, because the players don't have helmets, because there's only 5 starters on the team, and because there's a star vacuum for the people in the NBA. The NBA has so much power. The NBA players have so much power. The NBA works with them. So while LeBron James may have to stand up for the national anthem, he also can go in his press conference and say, "Fuck America."
He can have an hour press conference.
Right, and the NFL does not. The NFL players don't have that right, and so it's like, if you shouldn't have an excuse for your bullshit. If your bullshit is, you know, the NBA does it too. That's not an excuse. Like the NBA and the NFL are not parallel, and nor they're not analogous to one another. And so for me, it's just, listen, when the NFL as an organization, as a unifying body says, this is how we want to address something, now it becomes an issue. Now it's like, all right, dude, I could have, because the 49ers were like, I don't give a fuck if our players kneel.
Yeah, I
don't
give
a fuck. Eric Reed kneel, Kaepernick kneel. No one was tripping. Kaepernick's problem with the 49ers was that he was throwing interceptions, and Blaine Gabbert was beating him in fucking practice. It wasn't because you were kneeling. Like, that's not the issue. You know, so for me, it's just, I think that this move fucked them in a way that they probably did not expect. You know, and it's sad because the only way that it's going to be resolved in the NFL, if you want to look at that from a micro level, because society is way bigger. On a micro level, the only way that's going to be resolved is if you boycott a specific team or if the players boycott. And the only way the players are going to boycott is if, like, society helps them augments their income. Because why the fuck, if I worked my whole life to get to the NFL and I'm a minimal player, why the fuck would I turn away my salary? Motherfucker, I got a kid, I have a house, and I have a mama.
And I got 4 concussions coming into the league.
The only thing that will fuck up their money, though, is the cats that got bulletproof wallets, so it's making X amount of money.
But they have to agree, the bulletproof wallets have to agree to fucking help support the motherfuckers that
No, I'm saying the bulletproof wallets don't come on. It's almost like you can't be saying, like, oh, I'm gonna support the 5th string fucking wide receiver. If the bulletproof wallets dudes is like, I'm out. But Darryl, it's the same thing as having a whole bunch of white people.
It's got to be widespread, man.
Here's the thing, and sometimes, I mean, we and I understand it, but we do treat each other as though we're monolithic society.
No, yeah, we're not monolithic. We don't have the same ideas.
We don't have the same ideas, and motherfuckers are not gonna fall on that sword, man. They're like, fuck.
I got money. I got my mama crib to pay for. I got my daddy truck. I got, you know what I'm saying?
They not gonna fall on that fucking sword.
So, gentlemen, we have this whole conversation about this because of Kaepernick taking a knee. Mm-hmm. But are we forgetting the purpose, the reason why he took a knee?
Of course, it's been lost.
Why he took a knee?
That's been the most effective thing of what they've done is bury the cause.
They buried the cause. So let's get to the root cause and how can we address that first before we get into what we're gonna do now, since the NFL decides that we're gonna charge a fine.
Well, another thing that gets buried, another massive lead that gets buried in this is that halfway. And this is why I say there's stages of this shit. Is you get to last year and they're talking about, all right, great, we're gonna bring people to the table and talk about these causes. Man, that shit lasted like half a day.
Yeah.
And it fell clean the fuck off. And everybody that is so busy being like, fuck the NFL, there's a cause for you to get behind. Say, all right, NFL, you said you were going to support this, and now you didn't do it. But so many people are so busy being like, yo, fuck the NFL, that you didn't even realize there's an opening for you right there to start to raise a whole new argument against the league. You know why? Because you weren't fucking looking. You weren't paying attention. You cannot, I understand that saying, hey, I'm upset, I'm not going to support this. That's fine. You don't have to financially support it. You turning on your TV or not don't change it. But you know what? You being aware of what's going on does. And that's lazy ass activism, and that's why I'm not buying into it, because there's no collective goal about what the outcome is.
True.
I'm gonna take a break to tell you that Gherkin cigars are the best cigars under
Hey, we don't
$25.
do free. Hey, pause that. We don't do free
I
advertising.
mean, I'm sure
on this
it'd be
program.
edited out. I'm just telling you that I'm just like, I love these cigars.
We don't talk about anything by name on this
But I
program.
love them.
I
And
understand.
they're delicious.
We could stop the show.
I mean, he'll edit it. I mean, whatever.
Don't make
One of
Daryl
the
work
businesses
any
this
harder
one,
than
right?
he wants to.
'Cause I got a lot of editing.
That's really hard to find a timestamp in a show.
But nah, the flips. Listen, man. Look, for me, in conclusion, is listen. If you're gonna boycott the NFL, have a point to it.
Yep.
If you're just gonna say I'm boycotting the NFL, then you're a fuckboy who's not doing shit because that shit is not gonna affect. If they lose 7% of their bottom line, they're not. The owners are not gonna be hurting. So but if you make it uncomfortable for people to go to, again, I'm not shitting on the Cowboys unless your team. I'm saying if you make it uncomfortable for fans to go into Cowboys games,
So you're
and
saying,
you don't buy the
do you think
merchandise,
there should be a direct campaign against certain teams that have?
there has to be a certain team. The only way.
Oh,
we
you saying
can-
directly?
listen, it's a fraternity. The NFL owners are a fraternity. If you fuck a certain team over, then the other teams have to hear that because they know it's possible for them to get.
Hey,
fucked
if you
over.
really want to be about that,
Jerry got fucking the Rams up out of St. Louis.
Hey, if you really wanna
anything
be-
we need to
That's
target.
why.
if
We
you
need
really
to target
want
the
to
fucking
be,
Cowboys.
if you
so-
really want to be about that action right now, if you really about it, instead of going to work tomorrow, take your ass out there to LA and stop them from building that stadium out there. Go out there and set up and go out there and set up a barricade to them building that stadium out there. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to be about that action, don't fucking keep the Buffalo Bills from playing football because that ain't gonna change shit. Don't go out and pester the motherfucking Cincinnati Bengals. Take that shit out to the Meadowlands. Take that shit out to Dallas. Take that shit out to where people gonna notice it.
Yeah, that's just real.
Because otherwise you're not doing anything. And you know what? And all you sideline motherfuckers that wasn't watching football any Sundays anyway.
Right.
And all you motherfuckers that didn't care in the first place, shut the fuck up.
And it's
Because
crazy.
you ain't changing the bottom line. All you
Yeah.
doing is fishing for likes on fucking Facebook. And you people in general, whether it's just fishing for likes about the NFL or put up a bunch of pictures of your fucking kids, y'all motherfuckers annoy me because all you trying to do is fish for likes.
You know I hate social media. So.
I know. We need you at the forefront of this shit.
Yeah, but I fucking hate social media.
We need you as our leader.
It's
It's good.
yeah. I mean, it's a complex motherfucking situation, man. There's no way around that shit. I ain't got all the answers, but I do agree with Matt. That's why I didn't jump on that shit last year. I just felt like it was just
Let it play
a
out.
whole bunch of bandwagon jumpers, man. You know, all motherfuckers is I boycott.
Oh, you doing your job, black man.
Yeah.
You doing your job, black
Get
man.
the fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here. Because you know what, though? Also, at the same
I
time.
don't need nobody's approval to let me know how fucking black I am.
And you know what? At the exact same time, too, while we boycott that league, we also boycott a lot of brothers making a living that they need to make, too.
And you also are not boycotting everything that you do in society that's fucking also keeping, if you want to be the equivalent of keeping black men down and fucking, I mean, there's like so many other venues and avenues that serve oppression that let's not.
Fight the fucking pay disparity.
Yeah.
Fight to bring everybody up to the middle. Don't just use the NFL as a fucking springboard like you goddamn Luke Skywalker in fucking Return of the Jedi. Assholes.
But do understand that when the NFL has a widespread cultural warfare, because that's what they're doing, now it becomes a problem. But understand the nuance and the significance between owners doing some shit and the NFL as a fucking company doing it. Like, that's completely fucking different. And like, for somebody to say, well, I don't understand the difference, well, fucking you're an idiot. Like, you're talking about, if I own my law firm, right?
Congratulations.
If I have a fucking employee that says they want to do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to be like, hey, look, motherfucker, I don't agree with that shit. Fuck off, you're fired. And I have a right to do that because this is society and it's my firm.
Depends on your state, though, too.
Well, no, in my state, Missouri.
But I'm saying, you can get some other states, though. You're gonna have to go on.
Well, I'm talking about here. Here, I can tell you to fuck off, and fuck off means that you have
Now,
no recourse.
that goes to a legal thing with those states that players are in that they can't just do that, where they have what's it called, right to law, or what is it called, right to work, or whatever it is. Those states that don't have that, Will that be an issue within those states, though, legally?
I don't know, because I feel like at no state is your First Amendment right protected in a private company.
It's not.
There's no state like that.
It's not.
So, like that whole, and I hate when I hear it's a very fucking elementary argument to say you're usurping their freedom of speech. Nigga, no, you're not. You're not usurping. There's no freedom of speech.
No, there is no free. That's the misconception. There is no free. You're gonna pay a price. like you gonna whatever you say controversial, you're gonna pay a fucking price. So there is no. I mean, Colin. I mean, I guess he did the math before he started doing the shit, but I hope he knew that it ain't no fucking freedom of speech. You gonna pay a fucking price. Yeah. And it's just it's a choice as to whether you are willing to pay that fucking price, because there is no freedom of speech. That's a fucking misconception.
That's real shit. That's real shit.
You know, for real.
There's no free thought either. Shout out to Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? Free thought.
I mean, I don't like what Kanye West is doing, but I support his ability to be able to support whoever he wants to support. I want to make that clear for this microphone.
Really? Do you really?
No, I support him. I mean, I don't want to get into that, but I think he's going through a mental breakdown. But I support his ability to be able to support the president and support whatever free thought that he has.
I think it's a battle against Jay-Z. That's a whole other thing.
Oh, that's another thing. So,
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank y'all for listening.
Hey, this is behind the paywall too. We dropping this from when y'all support black business, y'all get this podcast.
Y'all support black business.
So actually, if you're hearing this abridged version of the scenario, you've already supported black business.
This could be an independent episode.
No. This is the beginning of your paywall experience.
Welcome. God bless y'all.
Y'all for listening. Peace.